The long-awaited 85G Master update is finally here, and I can't believe it's been over 8 years since the first 85G Master, and that was probably one of the first, if not the first, G Master lens Sony has ever come out with, at least the first G Master Prime. However, despite its amazing image quality prowess, some of the major complaints with the first version was that it was big and heavy, and the autofocus was slow and noisy. I mean, in hindsight, what do you expect? It's the first one. It did the job and the images were amazing. Obviously, 8 years now and a ton of technological advancements later, we now have the 85G Master Mark II that's faster and quieter. It's rocking the new extreme dynamic linear motor, so if you're using bursty cameras like the A1's 30 frames per second or the A9 Mark III's 120 frames per second, the chances of you getting a bunch of sharp photos at f1.4 is incredibly high. Now, I would run faster here, but I'm not an Olympian, okay? I'm just your average Joe, and like most average Joes and Jodies, I like to take slow-paced portraits, and the autofocus is much snappier and faster when acquiring focus. See here, hits the eye, hits the sign, hits the eye back again, and now back to the sign. Very nice. The hands. And for my video users, the rack focus transition is buttery smooth. They have you look more towards up for the light.
And I'm recording on both.
And if you're tracking a subject at f1.4 with any Sony cameras, it should keep up very well without losing focus, so long as you don't go past the minimum focusing distance.
Nice.
So performance-wise, great. Handling, we now have an extra customizable button on the front of the lens here, so a total of 2 as opposed to the 1 on the old one. This just makes it easier if you're shooting in the vertical orientation. There's just a button right here that you can press. And I should be clear that it's not 2 different customizable buttons, it's just 2 buttons that share the same function.
If you like pushing buttons so much, try pushing them on the washing machine.
So then, what about the size? Well, it is lighter and slimmer in comparison to the previous version, but not as much as I would have liked. 77mm for the filter thread size, so the girth is still the same. When you mount it to the bigger full-frame cameras, it isn't bad. Probably even better if you use a battery grip. But when you pair it with the smaller full-frame cameras, obviously the balance becomes very disproportional. Not fun to use on a nice Saturday morning. Which I want to sidestep a little bit. I think a lot of us expected the next 85G Master to be an f1.2 as opposed to another f1.4. Now obviously f1.2 would have made this lens massive. You guys ever seen Canon's 85 f1.2? Like, yikes. But I think Sony should have went for it anyway, and I would have trusted them to make it lighter and smaller compared to Canon's at the very least.
Canon.
A lens of this size and this caliber will likely appear more in pro environments, like on set, in studio, just places where the weight would not be a huge deal. And if it's f1.2, but it has to be a little bigger and a little heavier, I think most creators who want it probably would mind it. Right, Michael? Jeez, finally, something that we both can agree on. But if you're not Maiko and you're like, I'm fine with f1.4, I want f1.4, and the size reduction is good enough for me, then consider yourself, the deal is sealed for $17.99. However, as a run and gun travel creator myself, I would prefer something smaller. Even though I have the Zeiss 85 f1.8, I still highly recommend the Sony 85 f1.8 to everyone else just because of the price and that it's a lot smaller. And if you can get it on sale, well, even better. An f1.8 is more than enough for a short telephoto prime like this. You still get plenty of background blur. In fact, I just published a video about this tiny Sigma 90mm, which has become my recent favorite for travel, and that's only an f2.8. But the bokeh is still plenty good enough. So long as we don't hold up any side-by-side comparisons. No, Jonathan, put that away. But I still would love to see a Sony 85 f1.8 remake next. I don't think they can make it any smaller, but at the very least they can make it lighter. Then just update the internals. Put the extreme dynamic linear motors in there, keep it 67mm filter thread size, slap on a gray G badge on it, and bada bing, bada boom. We have yet another Jason Vong seal of approval, certified G banger. But until then, if you have the older 85G Master, then I don't think you really need to upgrade if you're A-okay with the IQ. But if you want the technical upgrades, you have the A1 or you have the A9 that can really take advantage of the advanced focus motors, then get yourself the 85G Master Mark II.
Maybe something lighter?
However, if you're looking for something lighter like a pocket telephoto prime lens, then check out my recent review of the Sigma 90mm linked right up here. But stick around to listen to what my sponsor Squarespace has to say. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to create beautiful websites. No coding knowledge needed. Just simply choose from their many templates and design. Perfect for photographers and online shop owners. Use my link down below for a 14-day free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use my code JASONVONG to save 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain. Thank you guys so much for watching, and like the 85G Master Mark II here, peace.